It's very awesomely great story of humble potter. Let's learn about him. The sun rose gently over the rolling hills of rural Japan, casting a golden glow over the small village of Hanamura. Mist curled over the rice fields, and the distant sound of a bamboo flute drifted through the crisp morning air. Life in Hanamura was simple, unhurried, and deeply connected to nature. At the heart of this village lived a humble potter named Kaito. He was an elderly man with silver hair, deep-set eyes filled with kindness, and hands that bore the marks of decades spent shaping clay. His workshop, nestled between cherry blossom trees, was filled with pottery of breathtaking beauty. Vases, bowls, and delicate teacups, each crafted with care and patience. But Kaito was not just a master of pottery. He was also a man of great wisdom, and the villagers often sought his guidance, believing that his understanding of clay reflected a deeper understanding of life itself. One day, an ambitious young samurai named Akira arrived in Hanamura. He was tall and strong, with a sharp gaze and an air of confidence that set him apart. He had traveled across Japan, seeking wisdom from scholars, monks, and warriors, determined to become the greatest warrior in history. Yet, despite all he had learned, something felt incomplete. His victories in battle brought him little peace, and his thirst for greatness remained unquenched. He had heard whispers of a humble potter who possessed a wisdom unlike any other, and so he had come seeking answers. Akira approached Kaito's workshop, his hand resting on the hilt of his katana. "Master Kaito," he said with a deep bow, "I have traveled far to seek your wisdom. I wish to learn the secrets of true strength, the path to greatness." Kaito looked up from his work, his eyes twinkling with quiet amusement. He studied the young samurai for a moment before nodding. "Very well," he said, setting aside the bowl he had been shaping. "But first, you must learn the way of the clay." Akira frowned slightly. He had expected lessons on strategy, discipline, or swordsmanship, not pottery. But he had come too far to refuse, so he stepped forward, eager to learn whatever the old man had to teach. And so the lessons began. Kaito placed a lump of raw clay onto the spinning wheel. "Clay," he said, "is soft, yet it can become stronger than stone. It bends but does not break. A warrior must be the same." As the wheel spun, he guided Akira's hands over the clay, letting him feel its texture. Many warriors believe strength is about hardness, about resisting all forces. But true strength comes from knowing when to bend, when to yield, and when to strike. Akira tried to mold the clay, but it crumbled beneath his touch. His grip was too forceful. Frustrated, he tried again, applying even more pressure. The clay collapsed once more. Kaito chuckled. "You are trying to command the clay as you command a sword. But the clay does not obey force. It responds to patience." Akira took a deep breath and relaxed his hands. This time the clay began to take shape. He watched in amazement as it transformed under his careful guidance. "Strength is not about forcing your will upon the world," Kaito said. "It is about understanding its nature and working with it." Akira nodded, beginning to grasp the lesson. Days passed, and Akira continued to train under Kaito's guidance. Each day he learned something new, not just about pottery but about life itself. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Kaito held up a finished vase. "This vase," he said, "was once just a lump of earth, but through fire it became something greater. Just as a warrior must face trials to grow stronger." Akira listened intently. "But," Kaito continued, "fire alone does not make the vase strong. If the clay is too rigid, it cracks under heat. If it is too soft, it melts away. A warrior too must learn to adapt, to be neither too rigid nor too weak but balanced." Akira thought of his battles. He had always been a fierce fighter, but he realized now that he had often been too rigid, too unwilling to adapt. He had relied only on brute strength, never considering that flexibility could be just as powerful. "Do not seek to master the world, Akira," Kaito said, placing a hand on the young samurai's shoulder. "Master yourself." One day, Kaito handed Akira a bowl that had cracked in the kiln. Instead of discarding it, Kaito had filled the cracks with gold. The bowl, once broken, was now more beautiful than before. This is the art of Kintsugi, Kaito explained. We do not hide our scars. We embrace them, for they tell our story. Akira stared at the golden veins running through the ceramic. He thought of his own failures, losses and wounds, scars he had tried to ignore. In battle I have been wounded many times, Akira admitted. I thought those wounds made me weaker. Kaito smiled. No, Akira. They make you wiser, stronger, more human. For the first time, Akira felt a deep peace settle within him. He realized that true mastery was not about being perfect, but about embracing imperfection. Months passed and Akira became a skilled potter, but more importantly, he became a wiser man. One night, a violent storm swept through Hanamura. The river flooded, and strong winds threatened to destroy the village. Without hesitation, Akira rushed out into the night, helping villagers secure their homes, rescuing those stranded in the rising waters. When the storm finally passed, the village was battered, but no lives had been lost. The people gathered in the morning light, whispering about the young samurai who had fought not with a sword, but with courage and compassion. Kaito approached Akira, his eyes filled with pride. You have learned the true way of the warrior, he said. Not through battle but through wisdom. For the first time in his life, Akira felt truly at peace. Years later, Akira became a respected leader. Not the greatest warrior in Japan, but a great man beloved and remembered for his wisdom and kindness. He often thought of Kaito and the lessons he had learned. And when he grew old, he returned to Hanamura, finding the workshop now abandoned, the once thriving pottery studio covered in ivy. He knelt before the place where Kaito had once sat, shaping clay with patient hands, and whispered a silent thank you. Because of a humble potter, he had learned the most valuable lesson of all. True strength is not in the sword, but in the soul. This story teaches us that true strength is found in balance, patience, and adaptability. Hardships and failures are not weaknesses, they make us stronger. The greatest warriors are not those who conquer others, but those who conquer themselves. May we all learn to be like the clay, soft yet strong, adaptable yet unbreakable. Thanks so much for staying tuned with us.